Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a fascinating story that starts with a frustration we all know too well, applying for jobs online. But this one, it ends up in the highest internal courts of the United Nations. We're going to unpack exactly how a simple digital error collided head-on with international administrative law. Let's get into it.
I want you to imagine dedicating yourself so entirely to getting a job at a massive global institution that you actually hit the absolute limit of their automated systems. I mean, we've all sent resumes into the digital void, just hoping for a response, right? But what actually happens when you apply for almost 1,000 jobs at the UN? Well, 999 is the breaking point. That's the exact maximum number of applications the UN's Inspira portal allowed per account before it just silently failed. There was no warning message, it didn't block the user from clicking submit, it literally just stopped processing the applications behind the scenes.
Section 1. The Ultimate Job Hunt and the Inspirational Portal Glitch.
For 4 agonizing months, this technical error held 166 of Mr. Basil El Habal's job applications in absolute limbo. From October 2013 all the way to late February 2014, he was completely shut out of the selection process. The crazy part is, he was applying and getting system confirmations, but behind the scenes, the Inspira system was just holding his applications back, all because he had crossed that hidden threshold. So when he finally got an answer in February, what was it? A cold, automated notification. It basically just told him he'd reached the limit and suggested he simply register for a new account. But crucially, it offered absolutely zero guarantee that his 166 delayed applications would be considered fairly alongside everyone else whose apps went through on time. Section 2, the human toll, beyond the bureaucracy.
Now, Mr. El Halibil wasn't just casually firing off resumes from a comfortable office. He was pleading for an opportunity from Gaza. In his emails to the UN, he vividly described the terror of conflict, the dire human conditions, the threat of bombardments, and a desperate need for a way out for his family, who felt trapped in a war zone. This wasn't just a job hunt. For him, it was a lifeline.
So, how did the massive UN system respond to this? His deeply emotional, urgent pleas to top officials for fair consideration were met with the most sterile, bureaucratic HR responses you can imagine. His existential crisis was politely redirected to a standard staffing email address. It's a truly Kafkaesque nightmare. A man fighting for his life, met by an auto-reply.
Section 3, seeking United Nations justice. Understandably frustrated by the system and feeling like his candidacy was unfairly eliminated by a machine's error, he didn't just give up. He took his case directly to the internal justice system of the UN, starting at the Dispute Tribunal and eventually going all the way up to the United Nations Appeals Tribunal. He formally contested his disqualification, arguing that he was subjected to unfair treatment and denied full and fair consideration, all because of an Inspira glitch that the UN itself actually admitted to. Section 4, the jurisdiction loophole, a question of standing. But before his claims about fairness and the software glitch could even be heard on their merits, he slammed right into an impenetrable wall of administrative law known as locus standi, which basically means standing. This asks a fundamental legal question. Does this specific court even have the legal authority to hear a case from this specific person? It's essentially the "do you belong here" test of the legal world. And here is where we find the loophole. If you are UN Secretariat staff, you have full access to the UN Dispute Tribunal to challenge hiring practices. Makes sense, right? But Mr. El Habil was a staff member of UNRWA, the UN Relief Agency for Palestine Refugees. So, legally speaking, the tribunal classified him essentially as an outsider, meaning he had absolutely zero standing in the UN Secretariat's Dispute Tribunal. Because of this, the top judges ultimately ruled that they legally could not and would not look at the actual merits of his case. It honestly didn't matter if the portal glitch was completely unfair. They ruled that he simply didn't belong to the right administrative group to complain about it in that specific court.
The ruling was painfully clear. The UNDT had no jurisdiction. Because his existing employment contract was with UNRW, which is a separately administered agency, the court determined the UN Secretary General's hiring decisions for the main secretariat did not affect his current terms of appointment. Under the strict letter of their administrative law, he was treated exactly like a random external candidate walking in off the street.
Section 5, the final verdict, consolidating appeals.
Now, Mr. El Habil didn't just give up there. He appealed these dismissals, taking his fight up to the highest internal court available, the UN Appeals Tribunal.
Under Order Number 259, the Appeals Tribunal consolidated all 4 of his interlocking complaints regarding the different job postings into one single final judgment to determine his fate once and for all.
But the appeals tribunal swiftly shut the door. They affirmed the previous rulings and rejected his appeals outright. They confirmed that a technicality of jurisdiction meant there was absolutely no judicial recourse for him within the UN justice system for this specific grievance. The machine glitched, for sure, but the legal framework said it simply wasn't their problem to fix.
It leaves us with a huge question. When sheer human determination collides with rigid bureaucracy, is a system that works perfectly on paper actually failing in practice? I mean, if a court uses a jurisdictional loophole to avoid hearing a valid complaint about a broken system, does it truly serve justice? Think about that the next time you hit submit on an online portal. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I hope it sheds some light on the profound, real-world impact of administrative fine print. I'll catch you on the next one.